Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the 2023 Youth Success Network Kickoff. It is actually, I'm 2 minutes late. It is 10:02. I'm going to give us till 10:05, and then we will start promptly at 10:05. So you got 3 minutes to meet your neighbor, use the restroom, etc. So I will be back. Hello, 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 hello. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Metro United Way 2023 Youth Success Network Kickoff. Um, Gum. It is so cool to see all you guys here today. Um, I just want you to know that we are so appreciative of you being here today, of you choosing to be here today. I know and respect that your time is valuable, and I really appreciate you choosing to spend your time here with us. Your work is important. Um, you are powerful, and I want you to know from our agenda is to build your power. Um, Individually, alone, we can be ignored, but together, they cannot ignore us. Um, Today, we have a packed agenda. Each of you should have a folder in front of you. On the left-hand side is our agenda today. We will be going through the list of supports for you all that we will be providing this year. And you will notice on the back, the next handout is a list of those supports. On the back of that handout is a QR code that you can scan on your phone, and it will link you to a Survey Monkey where you can express interest in which supports you are interested in. And I will say this up front. If everybody signs up for everything, we won't be able to support all of you all the time. There are certain things that are absolutely unlimited that we can accommodate everyone, but there are certain things that'll either be once you expressed interest, there will be follow-up emails, and at least one of those will have an application for you all to apply to. But our job is to do the best we can to support you. And there's a couple of things that aren't on that agenda, on that list of supports that we'll talk about. All right. So that's why I love Melissa. So welcome. Just a few housekeeping is bathrooms are out the door on your left and just on your right. The secret to the bathrooms is there are bathrooms in the same place in the building on the first floor, the second floor, and the third floor. Once you find where the bathroom is at, and if it's too crowded and the line's too long, you can either take the elevator or the steps down to the first floor and try that, or take the elevator, which is right out here to the right, up to the third floor, and the bathrooms are in the same spot on the third floor also. So there's 3 sets of bathrooms. We are having lunch today. When we conclude, hopefully before 12:30, we're having a great lunch from Black Italian. We encourage you to stay and join us for food. And just another heads up, we do have a packed agenda. Today is not a networking meeting, but I'm not going to stop you from connecting to the folks around you. But I will promise this. How many? I think we have 5 networking meetings scheduled for this year, and they're all going to be here in this building, in this room. So that's one of our goals. We are the Youth Success Network, and networking is a part of that, connecting you to other people like you doing similar work in our community. So that will happen. Without further ado, the other thing I am going to do is recognize our partners with the City of Louisville Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods Youth Engagement Service Team. And I will say this, Louisville in our community, surrounding community is pretty famous for collaboration, et cetera. My problem is we have way too many collaborations and they don't collaborate with each other. So I want to point this out. It's very rare for 2 of the major funders for youth programs in this county to actually talk to each other and see the connection and say, hey, why don't we do this together? And without the leadership of Carla Kirby, who's the Associate Director at the Office of Healthy and Safe Neighborhoods, I get that right? Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods, Ocean. This wouldn't be happening. This wouldn't be here, and we wouldn't have that menu of supports that's in front of you that we're going to talk about today. So without further ado, I'd like to bring the YES team up.
Thank you, TJ. I'm Carla Kirby, Assistant Director of the Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods. And this is my illustrious, wonderful, beautiful team. Our program manager, Renee Douglas, she's going to introduce everybody individually. The only thing I want to do is say thank you, TJ. The only reason that TJ and I are collaborating so well, I think, is that we've probably worked together for the past 30 years in government, but the the tradition will carry on. So, but I have one exciting thing to announce is that in your packet there is one of our brochures or it's a handout. We are announcing that we have developed with our CIT team in Metro Louisville a web-based searchable database for all youth service providers. It's going to be searchable by, it's going to have GI, the mapping system with it. So it'll be searchable by your address, your metro district, your zip code, your neighborhood. It'll also be searchable by program type. And when you go in and go to this QR code, do it today before you leave. It's web-based. Sign your organization up on it. We can't open this new tool to the public until we have the database full. We want to have at least 300 or 400 programs. So we're going to put it on billboards. We're going to have a media campaign with the mayor to let everybody know. This has been a want since the Office of Youth Development had theirs about 15 years ago. So we're super excited about it. And my team challenged me that we're going to have a cheer. So when I say yes, you say direct. Yes. 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 Woo. I'm going to, but thank you all. Seriously, we need your assistance. Send it to all of your agencies. There is a level of accountability. So right now we're only accepting submissions that are 501c3 nonprofits, as well as you have to ensure that you do background checks on all volunteers and staff. So we're not just because you say I work with youth doesn't mean that you can be a part of it yet. So we have some vetting to do with that. But anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Renee and our team. So thank you all.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Renee Douglas. I'm the program manager for the Youth Engagement Services team at the Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods. And yes, that's a mouthful. So in the interest of time, I'm going to start with our newest employee, our community outreach coordinator, Ulysses Gober. We have Shannon Sutton, our youth services coordinator. We have Kieran Wakefield, our youth services coordinator, Bethany Olson, the grant lady. Bethany is our supervisor. And last but certainly not least, we have Javon Brown Lewis, Mr. Blue, our youth engagement specialist, and he's going to tell you a little bit about our department. And lastly, back on the back table, we've got information about all the initiatives that we have going in the YES office. Feel free to reach out to any of us if you have questions after the presentation.
All right, thank you, Ms. Renee. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To echo what TJ said, we are certainly at the cornerstone of community. So I want to say from the YES team, from Louisville Metro, from Ocean, thank you all for being here and being committed to working with young people in whatever capacity that you are. So give yourself a round of applause. So I'm gonna move over here because I can't even see the board. But so first, I want to talk about our approach to the work that is not actually up on the board. So our approach to the work is grounded in a couple of things, which is one, social justice youth development. If you are not familiar with it, I hope you become familiar with it sooner than later. And the second approach is social ecology. So social ecology, in the simplest terms, is hitting every rung of the ladder in society. So we can start at the bottom, which is at the individual, and then we go, the next level is relationship. The next level after that is community. And then we have organizations. And then we have institutions. Institutions are your big, broad academia, government, finances, banks, and so on and so forth. So here within the office, we focus on every single rung of that ladder. And I'll start at the very, I'll talk about the programs and then which level that is within at the end of that. So first, we'll start with our Louisville Youth Network. Our Louisville Youth Network is made up of 5 community partners? Go back. Oh, we was there. Oh. Yeah. Louisville Youth Network is on there.
But it's not on what they have.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so I'll go Louisville Youth Network. Sorry for the hiccups. First and foremost, Louisville Youth Network is a system designed to provide a comprehensive structure of support for youth connected to services identified as high need. So the people within the Louisville Youth Network that really make that initiative happen is the Coalition Supporting Young Adults, so CSYA, Louisville Urban League, Goodwill Industries, Kentucky on the Works / The Spot, and then Metro United Way. So with that network that is ran by the lovely Bethany Olson, it is really to create that comprehensive and strategic care system for high risk and young people that are in need of services that can't find them. And then I'm gonna go based off the presentation. So then the Louisville Metro Youth Cabinet that was designed by myself as the youth engagement specialist. It was originally the youth implementation team and now the Louisville Metro Youth Cabinet. That initiative is designed to interact with one young person from all 26 districts to bring them onto one cabinet so that they can advise the Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods, the mayor, and Metro Council on youth-related issues. So the goal of that is really to elevate youth voice. And as you can see, during National Youth Violence Prevention Week, we was able to have a press conference with the mayor in which several of our young people spoke. And this isn't the entire team, but each one of these young people featured in this picture are definitely dedicated to doing the work in their districts, but in Louisville as a whole. So a few things that they do is budget recommendations to the mayor and policy recommendations and hosting events. So special events like National Youth Violence Prevention Week, which this took place in. Again, National Youth Violence Prevention Week. The beautiful thing about this, before I go into any depth, is the first partnering organizations list. So last year we worked with 20 plus organizations, and it is advised by a group of young people that you saw on the slide previously. So NYVPW was started by Sandy Hook Save Promise Clubs, in which they wanted to really get activism out there, specifically in schools, to stop youth violence or deter it or bring awareness to it. So here in Louisville, we have done it over the last, I believe, almost 10 years. And the last 2 or 3 years have been ran by myself and the young people that I work with. Last year, the theme was believing in youth or believing in you with the TH in parentheses. And our focuses was community engagement, policy, mental health, research, and civic engagement in action. You will potentially be getting an email from me soon as we are starting the work and the development of that week to see if you are interested and see if you have young people that want to be a part of the planning process. The next thing, Neighborhood Youth Boards, was also designed by myself. That is ran by Ulysses Gobert. Louisville Metro Youth Cabinet is ran by my colleague, Kieran Wakefield. But NYB was designed to hit the community level and below. So Neighborhood Youth Boards was around in 1991 and dissolved somewhere around the early 2000s. And it was designed to really get young people involved in their community centers through OYD. So now the new iteration is to go through a social, emotional, and political development curriculum centered within social justice youth development to really get them talking about who they are, who their community is, and how both of those things can go into making a global impact. So going to making a global impact, and as you can see, this was their social action project presentation where you have many community partners at the Boys and Girls Club, and this was the California Neighborhood Youth Board. They will be doing a poetry and open mic at the St. Stephen's Family Life Center on October the 10th from 6 to 8. And it will be in their gymnasium, and the Cali NYB will be putting that on. The Yes Connection is another event where we really want to bring everybody in this room together along with ourselves. And this year we'll be having specific topics that we are covering. As you can see, we are having a Yes Connection event on September 28th, and it is geared around mental health during September, which is National Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. So the Yes Connections happen bi-monthly, and they are, again, networking events where we want to bring as many of you all in the room so we can talk about how best we can support each other and what topics you all would like to hear as well. Yes, Hey, yes, direct. Yes, direct. So the team has been diligently putting this together, Miss Renee and Miss Carla and our CIT team. So per what Miss Carla said, our assistant director of the Yes team, please fill this out, put your organization on it, please submit, because the community has asked for this for a really, really long time. So we really want to bring that to fruition for them. Next is our capacity building initiative that is with the Butterfly Group, Metro United Way, and our Reimagine Network, where we are hosting a fellowship to do great capacity building work with low capacity organizations. This is one of the most super important things that we do because we have a lot of youth serving organizations that are low capacity. And a lot of them are grassroots without the knowledge and know-how to grow or to run more efficiently. So in company with Metro United Way, Butterfly Group, and another ring of our office, we'll be bringing the capacity building initiative to life. SJYD certificate project being ran out of the Center for Social Justice Youth Development Research. They are now in their second cohort. I believe they may or may not be taking applications to be a part of that, but this is the breeding ground for learning about social justice youth development, which is the most recent iteration of youth development. The previous one was positive youth development and community youth development. This is where young people learn to become active and engaged citizens and do work for you all as the adult sponsors for the programs, because half of it is about who you are, your traumas, your biases, and who you are as a service provider, and really getting you to unlearn some of the things that we've learned so that we don't pass those on to the young people. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your time today.
Gee, Carla, has it been 30 years? Because honestly, we must have been really young. All right. We were really young. In you will notice the overlap on their presentation and what happens today. And that's because in a true partnership, everybody gets to take credit and be happy for each other. I'm telling you, success is not a pie. There is enough pie for everybody to be successful, and that's our goal. Next, I'm really excited about this next opportunity from Metro United Way. We have Brandon McReynolds, who is going to talk to you about policy and advocacy and how you can get involved in the policy and advocacy space. And without further ado, since I got Melissa watching me, I am handing it over.
We got to stay on time. I don't want to get yelled at, TJ. I don't want to get yelled at. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Metro United Way. It's great to have you all here. You all are doing what I would say is God's work out in the community and making this community not only a safer and better and stronger place for not only today, but future generations. And really excited to be here today to share also another opportunity for you all to engage, and that is in the advocacy space. We know at Metro United Way that what policy is built, programming alone is not going to be able to change, right? That we have to address things at systems level. And every day that you all are out there, you all see those things. You have those experiences, you're on the ground, you understand it, you have the lived experience. And that is something that we believe is part of the change that we need to see in our community, is elevating those voices. And so part of what we want to do at Metro United Way, and part of what we do, is we lobby and we advocate at a local, state, and a federal level for policy changes that are impactful to our partners. You know, what are we hearing from the Coalition for the Homeless? What are we hearing from our early childcare partners around how zoning is restricting access to early childcare in many of our neighborhoods, right? Those are policies that we want to go and attack, and we want to solve, and we want to fix. And we realize that we're situated to do that and have the capacity, because a lot of organizations in our community, again, y'all are doing God's work, they're out there, and just don't have that time. But you have the stories, you have the people, you have the knowledge, and we want you to be a part of that. So one of our first opportunities this year is an engagement that we're just going to bring people together to kind of hear about ways that maybe you would want to participate in advocacy and policy work if that is something that interests your organization. And so just would really, I'm here to just flag this as an opportunity for you. TJ and Melissa will continue to add these into your all's communications. I included some flyers on the back table back there because I couldn't get the QR code in time for when they needed the PowerPoint. But we would love for you all to either participate in this event or be on the lookout for other engagement opportunities. Every year, we also do a day in which we take buses and we go down to Frankfurt and we set up meetings with legislators. So again, we want to make it as low barrier as possible. If you have an issue or topic that you want to address with a state, local official policymaker, let us know. We can help set up those meetings and get those conversations going because again, we really believe that the programming that we're doing here is impactful. There's a lot of knowledge and a lot of great work that's going on in this room, and we want to take it to a systems level. And so I really appreciate you all providing the time today for me to kind of just share this opportunity with you all that's coming up. And then again, flag the opportunity that as we go forward, just be on the lookout. And then also always feel free to reach out because we may miss something and are always happy to engage in other ways. So thank you all. And I appreciate you all giving me some time.
Thank you, Brandon. And if his email address is too small for you to see and copy down, one key is that we have one door to get to everything. And if you ever have any questions, email me, text me, call me, and I will get you to who you need to be at, right? That's part of the benefit package of being a part of the Youth Success Network is that you have two staff members, myself and Melissa Nelson, and there is no question, no thought that is not important. So for us, our policy is to get back with you within 24 hours. We actually do a pretty good job at that. If it's urgent, then you just need to text me. And then it's like, within an hour, I'll get back to you. I am here to talk about I want to review last year's supports and participation. We do have funders that we need to report to, and numbers are the things that they love to crunch. And we try to be as humanly transparent as humanly possible with you all. Last year, at the end of the year, we actually put up our budget and how much we spent on each of these areas. This year, here's our report. This is what happened last year. We had 14 organizations that were a part of our grassroots capacity building project with Tarsha Simakula in the Butterfly Group. This year, thanks to the Yes team, we're going to have 40 more. We have two really cool mental health supports. One of the things that you all told us during the pandemic is that look, this is stressful. Working with kids day in and day out and being their rock is like cracking me up. I need help. So in last year, we had 106 people who took advantage of all the supports that we had to offer within mental health. This year, we're going to kill that. We're going to shoot for 500. And this one's weird. So last year at this time, we started off with like 61 or 2 organizations, but over the course of the year, by the time the end of May rolled around, we had 111 organizations that were part of this network. This summer, can I just say this? Our goal is that every adult who works with young people, every organization, whether it's a 501c3 or not, is a part of this community. This community of adults who have a passion and commitment to reach back and help young people navigate this world that is like not easy. Our work is violence prevention. Our work is academic success. Our goal is to help young people build the skills that they need to be successful when they sit at their desk at the classroom, when they walk in the door at home, when they're out on the streets in the neighborhood, and when they're building their career. That's our goal. Young people are the key. Young people are what we do. And we, as a goal, working with adults and organizations, we want everybody to be part of this network. There is no barrier. Our only requirement, if you serve, as a matter of fact, our only requirement is like 2 degrees separated. If you serve young people between ages of 6 and 24, we want you to be part of this network. If you serve organizations that serve young people, we want you to be a part of this network. And if you're not a 501c3 and you want to be a 501c3, I'll get it. We'll reach our hand out and help you get there. We want to support your passion. We want to build your power to serve youth because we are the community that's wrapping their arms around young people, right? So we ended the year with 111. Right now, as of today, I've got 3 organizations that are in the pipeline. We're at 140 organizations today. We will go over 150 this year for sure. We're really excited about that. Oh, we got so many different supports for you all. If you have a building and your internet connection is weak and your Wi-Fi power is low, we got that. We have an organization that's with us today that will talk to you about how to build that internet connectivity, because so much of the stuff we do around youth is connected to the World Wide Web, right? And we had 3 last year. We're got room for up to 15 this year. Our training, Melissa's going to kill me for this one, but if you look in the back of the left side of your folder, there's a calendar for training for the full year. Another secret is by being here, you are on our mailing list. The other thing I would suggest you to do is to contact Bethany Olson and get on Yes's mailing list. On the first Tuesday of every month, we will be sending out our newsletter with the links for all the workshops. All right. But the moral of the story is we had almost 300 people attend trainings last year. We got room for 1,000 this year. Social emotional learning, you'll learn about this in a little bit from Antonio, but we have a tool. You know, data speaks to everybody. It speaks to your funders, it speaks to your board, it speaks to JCPS. We have a tool that we're going to provide for you all that allows you to collect social emotional learning data on the children you serve pre and post, so you can tell people the impact that your program is having on them. We had 480 total children that were assessed last year. If we don't have 1,500 this year, then we're not doing our job right. Then the last one is we had 1,000 hours of tutoring last year, and we're going to crush that this year. We have a great partnership with Bellarmine. We have a great partnership with one of our network members, I Would Rather Be Reading, to really provide that academic supports for the students you serve. And we're excited about that. The one thing we dropped this year, last year, 20 organizations participated in our youth program quality intervention system, the CEL PQA that really measured program quality. This year, we are not supporting that tool. So for all of you all that love that tool and that have been using that tool, I want a big awe. But the reality is that tool was very capital. It cost a lot and labor intensive. So we will not be supporting that tool, but we will use other means to get out and to support your programs and to increase your quality of your programs and to help you really ensure that you're providing learning experiences for young people that you work with. Next up, I believe, is Melissa.
I feel like TJ needs like spoiler alert, like for so many things. So, as TJ already mentioned, in your folder, you have a menu of supports, which is what we are moving towards. Today, you will hear from some of those people that will be offering those menu of supports. And so, as we're introducing those menu of supports and all of those services that will be offered, today is your day to take in all of that information. See how that fits in with your organization. How can you take that back to your organization and use these services? How can you make it work for you? Because that is our job. And if there's something missing, let us know. How can we help you grow? Because that's our job. So listen to the presenters today. And hopefully, one of these things or multiple things, because we hope that you bundle these services, will kind of speak to you. They'll work for your organization, they'll work for you personally, and they'll matter for you. They'll help you serve the youth that you work for. And they'll make a difference for you, the youth, and our community. Also, as TJ already mentioned, as part of that networking training, we'll be offering several professional development opportunities. Again, as we continue to grow and change and help you to do the same, those yellow dates are all training opportunities. The red, of course, are days that JCPS is off. And as we continue to figure out what that looks like and navigate those days, I try not to schedule training days because you may be working on those days. The blue days are our networking days. Those are those Yes Connection networking days that will be held in our office. And then that green day is one of those days, is today. It's our networking or our kickoff day. And then the 30th or that May date will hopefully be our celebration, end of year celebration, something to look forward to. And so, who doesn't love to get recognized? If you attend 10 trainings at the end of the year during that celebration event, you will get recognized during our celebration. We'll keep track as we usually do, and you'll get a certificate. I'll try to make a really big deal about it because, as you kind of noticed from that welcome slide, I love to make fun things. So we'll make it fun. And I'll call you out. So it's going to be a thing. Be prepared. I have no idea. I didn't turn it back on. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's go back. Also, as TJ already mentioned, yes, you did. No, you mentioned the newsletter already. You've already mentioned the newsletter. You will get notified about those trainings throughout the newsletter. They will give you an opportunity to sign up for those trainings each month. I don't want to give you a bunch of training dates all at the same time. So for each month, I will give you those training dates. I send out the newsletter the first Tuesday of every month. I've got a notification on my Outlook. On the back of that is a call out to participate in the community board. We have a Padlet, and the Padlet is a call to action. It is something that we can use, all of us. You can add your own community events. You can post job postings. You can ask questions to the network. It is a way for us to communicate and network within an online space. I also try to post funding opportunities when I see them, because sometimes those come through when I'm not posting that wonderful newsletter that I try to make look really, really pretty. So I'll put it on there if I see them. So just FYI, take a look at the Padlet, because sometimes there's some really great information on there. And again, you can post stuff on there as well. And again, if you need to contact us, here's our information. Reach out to us. Janisha, come on up to talk about one of those menu of supports. So our first introduction of menu of supports, United Community.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. So good to see so many smiling and amazing faces today. So my name is Janicia C. I'm the United Community Coordinator here at Metro United Way. So I'm here to talk about United Community. So just by show of hands, who's heard of United Community? Ooh, okay. So a lot of you all might already be familiar because you might already be connected to United Community, but this opportunity is for some of you all who may not be aware of it or want to learn more about United Community. So we actually launched back in 2019. This was an initiative that was brought to us from Unite Us and some other partners. So we started off with about maybe 50 to 100 partners. So to date, we now connect nearly 500 organizations on our platform. So that kind of goes across all of our 7-county region within Metro United Way. So if we talk about just the growth that we've had in those couple of years, that's really major, really thanks to all of the organizations that support and are joining the network. And so really all of those organizations really make up social service organizations, government agencies, as well as different healthcare providers. All are really connected on this platform through Unite Us. So raise your hand if you've heard of Unite Us. Yeah, so we kind of get some confusion when we talk about Unite Us and United Community, but Unite Us is our amazing tech partner. So when you are connected to United Community, you are going to be connected to Unite Us, which is the platform and the technology that we use to provide this service. So really the idea that we have for connecting all of these organizations is really a no wrong door method. And so what that means is that all of our organizations providing the services for individuals in our community to be connected. And so really that means individuals can have access to all of the resources. So when you think about nearly 500 organizations, that's resources, that's services that are provided for the community to have access to. All right, just some quick things that I think that you all should know. So there is absolutely no cost for community-based organizations to join the platform. So as you already heard, if you are a 501c3, I think I got it right too, it's absolutely free for you to join this platform. Again, this is a tool that you can use in your day-to-day that will really help to make sure that you're able to serve some of the services that you provide. Another great thing about this platform is that you're able to inform community-wide outcomes. And so you have access to your insights in your data. So what that means is that when you're connected to the platform, we normally share different data through the platform. And so really that data that's coming in is from each of you all as organizations. So a lot of organizations want to know how they're doing, how their referrals are going, how their data is coming in. And so we really want to let you all know that you have that access. A lot of our organizations do use that data. Some use that data when they're going for grants. You have access to use that data to kind of show some of the impact of the work that you're doing. So that's a really great plus when joining this platform as well. The main things that we're able to do with this platform is that you're able to make electronic referrals really on one seamless platform. And so really that is the major perk for this platform, again, making the referrals so from one organization to the other. And I'll show you how that works in a minute, but essentially you're able to do that all on the platform as well. We're able to securely share client information. So this platform is HIPAA compliant. As I mentioned, we do work with a lot of health service organizations. And so that's really important for us to make sure that we are keeping all of our client information secure and that we're not sharing any sensitive information, even if we're dealing with services that might be a little bit more in-depth and personal. We still make sure that we keep all of that information private. So if you've been on the platform since 2019, you might be thinking, well, I already know everything that this platform is able to do. Here to tell you that we've had some improvement over the years. And so there's been a lot of different updates, a lot of different improvements. We've really taken the feedback that we've gotten from some of the organizations, from some of our users, and really try to make it a great experience for you all to be able to utilize and really be able to use it to its full potential. So some of the things that we've updated to make it easier, we've added different languages to kind of accommodate all of our language speaking individuals in the community to be able to connect with resources. We now have options where you can message other organizations within the platform. You don't have to go out and kind of send back and forth emails. So just some of those little things that we try to listen to from our organizations to really help improve just that whole user experience as well. And then the last thing is a customizable experience. So as you can imagine, with nearly 500 organizations, there's really no right way to join the platform. And we really don't try to force anyone to join and say you have to provide these services this way. We really want to meet you where you are. So if you're an organization and maybe you're not ready to receive referrals on the platform, that's okay. We really try, like I said, to work with you all. So if you're an organization that just needs to send out referrals, maybe you have, individuals or youth that really need the services and you need that access, we can definitely set you up that way as well. And so really it's just customizable because again, we really want to make sure that you're successful if you're using this platform. All right, so how does it work? So this is just a quick kind of flow of how things work. So essentially, if you all have a community member or a youth that's coming in for services, let's say they might need food assistance, even if your organization does not provide food assistance, or maybe you have a youth that's come in and their family has identified that they need food assistance. Normally what will happen is they're going to be connected to the organization. So that's going to be you all. However you all do your onboarding or however you do your intake, all of that can stay the same. The only difference is that you'll kind of input that information into the platform. That will generate a referral, which you'll see there, and it'll go out to different community service providers. So for this instance, if we're talking about a food service provider, once you send that referral, it's going to go to any food service provider that you select within the platform. That organization will then receive the information. They will decide if they are an organization that can accept the referral or if they need to decline the referral. I know a lot of people get frustrated if you're sending out referrals and you send it to an organization and they say they can't pick up the referral. So we know that there might be some capacity issues with some organizations. We know that funding is not always there, but we do try to encourage people to continue to send out those referrals because there might be additional organizations that can serve for that need. And so again, you're able to do that all pretty much on one seamless process. So if you can't send to that one organization that you really want, we encourage you to find another one. If you exhausted all of those options that you can, continue to connect with myself and our team with Unite Us, and we'll definitely try to help to kind of navigate how you can find different resources that might be available for your youth or for the individual that you're serving. So really, as I talked about the network success, again, we really pride ourselves in having organizations that can really provide all of the service that we need to. So you'll see right here just kind of a list of some of the services that we provide. A lot of them are basic needs, so transportation, utilities, and housing. All of these organizations are serving for these things. Again, if you don't see it up here, or if you go through the platform and you say, I know I have people that are needing this service and it's just not on there. Let us know, and it's something that we can bring on. There's organizations that we can probably reach out to kind of get them on the platform. So for example, we had a few organizations that told us that there was not enough maternal health that was on there, and that they were dealing with a lot of families that needed that support. That's something that we added on there because of the feedback that we got back from the organizations and the users that were using it. And then again, as you join the platform, we really try to reiterate ways that you can be successful. So again, if you're an organization and you're using it, making sure that you're responding to referral, right? So if someone sends you a referral from another organization, don't just let it sit, right? Because that means that that's someone that's in need, someone that's needing for you to at least address that referral that's coming in. Making updates to your organization profile. So we kind of think of that as like a Facebook page or a social media page where everyone can see all of your information. And so if you've listed that, let's say you're serving for food assistance and someone goes to your profile and sees that you're accepting food assistance, but maybe you're not, that can confuse other organizations. So we try to help everyone to kind of keep that updated. Let us know if you're no longer serving for a service. That's completely fine. We'll just keep it updated so you're not getting referrals that are not relevant to you, and that we're not getting rejected referrals through the network. Because again, that just kind of throws off all of the data that we're getting in. We want to make sure that we're painting a clear picture on what's kind of happening with the needs there. All right, so just some quick opportunities and support for the platform. So Unite Us, our tech partner, they provide lots of technical supports as well. So they have some self-paced training materials that you can look at. If you're like me, I like to kind of go in and just kind of see the trainings that I need to and kind of just move on with my business. But if you're someone that needs to kind of schedule a one-on-one training, so we can schedule group trainings. If you have new staff members and you want to do like a staff training for your organization, we can definitely do that as well. And just some other available tools through the Unite Us platform. And then Metro United Way, we definitely conduct different convenings. And so at those convenings, we'll kind of share an overall data view of what's happening within the platform, some things that we can update as well. We also have different networking and training opportunities, and partner spotlights is a big one. We definitely want to share all of the work that's happening with all of the organizations that are on the platform and kind of help all of our organizations learn more about it. So if you look in your calendar of supports, we actually have a very special training date for you all as a youth service network. So that's going to be on September the 27th. I really encourage you all to come learn more about the platform. We're going to be doing a demo so you can actually see more in depth about how everything that I talked about, how that is used, how you can get connected, answer any questions, and kind of get anyone that's interested onboarded. So again, encourage you all to come out and learn more. If you have any questions, I'll be around, but thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Janicia. We are very excited to be able to offer this resource to you all. My goal is to have a youth success box on that one slide so that we can be inclusive of all of our partners. And I know that kids and parents that you work with come up to you and let you know issues that they're having. You know, we want you to have this as a resource for you to be the navigator, to be the support system for your young people that you serve and their families. And this is a great tool. And it comes with, don't be scared, it's online, it's web-based, but it comes with a lot of support. So please take advantage of United Community as another tool in your toolbox. But it is now my honor to introduce my boss's boss. Robert Earl Gunn Jr. is our Chief Impact and Equity Officer. And he came to us from Jefferson County Public Schools, where he was the principal of the E.B. Du Bois Academy. He's been here with us for almost a year and a half now, and he's been amazing. He hit the ground running from the beginning. All right. Well, Robert disappeared on us. Oh, that's all right. He's coming back. All right. So Robert popped his head in. He was going to say hello, but he must have got an emergency text. So I am going to introduce Rebecca Bloomer with the University of Louisville Center for Social Justice Youth Development Research to talk about all the great things that they are doing. Dr. Rebecca, she earned that doctor.
Hi, I feel like that was a little anticlimactic from what you were expecting. But as TJ said, I'm Dr. Rebecca Bloomer. I am with the Center for Social Justice Youth Development Research at U of L. I think you heard a little bit of a shout out earlier to our program. So just to talk a little bit about some of the things that we've had going on in the last year. So we do have a certificate program for youth serving professionals in the city of Louisville. And it's kind of a multi-pronged certificate process. So we have an application process to be able to be a part of this next cohort. But in the initial cohort, what we did is an entire year, academic year-long certificate program. So those who were participating were showing up every week across, I guess, August, September through April of the following year. And what we did is we did that racial healing processing component in affinity groups. So we broke out into affinity groups, went through that racial processing and healing so that you can better understand your own biases, how white supremacy culture really impacts the way that you engage with youth, those ideas that you have about what it means to have a relationship with youth, and really kind of doing that personal work yourself before digging into the educational content, which is the social justice youth development framework itself. So then there's educational content around the SJYD framework. And community building, of course, is integral to the program. This year, we're going to have SJYD coaching sessions, as was mentioned before. So some one-on-one work with community members that have been engaged in the certificate process. So getting some technical support. How do you apply this at your organization? We did have 45 people get their certificates this last cohort, which was really successful. We're really excited about. And then a piece of this certificate program is we have a youth advisory board that we work with to inform all of the work that we do. And so we partnered with them for the social action project with Metro United Way. So we were able to give out 12 grants for $5,000 each. But what we did was we engaged our youth advisory board in the review process. So we created the application that was grounded in SJYD. So instead of looking at youth as deficit-based, as problem prevention, looking at the ways in which youth are assets to our community and how do we grow on that. So the youth were very insightful in reviewing the applications, and we anticipate doing that again for this upcoming year. So we were able to do 12 grants. Some examples where we did have a project through Family and Children's Place working with the Black Student Union at Central High School. And so they created a podcast advocating for different aspects of the community. The Food Literacy Project did a youth participatory action project. Bookworks did a social justice film festival. So it really kind of spanned the gamut of what you might think in terms of projects and initiatives, but the commonality is that those are youth-initiated, youth-led projects. So for 2024, we're in the process of accepting applications for this certificate round this fall. Unlike last year, this is going to be for the fall only, so the whole certificate program will happen in 15 weeks. So if you're interested in that, get that application, get it completed. We're hoping to go through those next week-ish. So we'll have our second cohort. And then we'll also have those mini grants that are happening again this fall. So our hope is that we'll have that application ready for late fall, so November, December time period. And you'll be better grounded to be able to do that project if you've participated in the certificate.
Boom. Um, I just want to know by a show of hands, how many people are in run programs that are not in Jefferson County? All right. There are very few things that are only Jefferson County specific. Most everything is we often come off very Louisville, Jefferson County centric. But the beauty of Metro United Way, while we have funds only for Jefferson County, we also have funds separate from those, Carla, that will help involve programs outside of Jefferson County in the services that we provide, just a FYI. But I just wanted to add that, and yes, we will be doing the youth social action projects this year. Somebody once asked me, what do I need to do to be successful in being a member of the Youth Success Network? And the number one I say is you have to be good at email. And that means knowing which ones that you need to go through. I know. All right. So I just wanted to say that before I introduce Robert again, which I don't really need to introduce. He is a man that needs no introduction. Robert Earl Gunn Jr.
So, good morning. How y'all doing? Okay, I'm gonna need y'all to give me a little bit more. Good morning. So, great to see you all. My name is Robert Earl Gunn Jr. I'm the proud Chief Equity and Impact Officer here at Metro United Way. I always start each and every day by saying it is a great day to be alive. And if you happen to speak Spanish, es un gran día para estar vivo. So, a little backstory about that. Folks, every time they see me, if somebody asks me how I'm doing, I'm going to tell them it's a great day to be alive. And sometimes folks kind of push back and it's like, dude, your life just must be good. Things must be perfect. They must be great because there's no way that every single day can be a great day to be alive. Just simply tell people it's a choice. So let me walk you all through what my morning has been like. Because according to the agenda, I was supposed to kick this thing off this morning, right? And I was an educator, 20 years, 10 years as a principal. Last job I had in education, I was a founding principal of the W.E.B. Du Bois Academy right here in Louisville, Kentucky. So I understand what it's like to do the work that you all do, especially if you're working with somebody else's kids, right? So this morning, I'm up. I'm ready. I dropped my son off in the car rider line at 8:15. I'm on my way here. I get a text message at about 8:35 a.m. That text message reads, your mentor is in the hospital. Okay, is everything, I respond back, is everything okay? Well, I don't know. So then I hit my mentor up. Hey, heard you're in the hospital. Hopefully you're checking texts. I'm just trying to figure out where you are. She hits me back and says, well, I'm okay. But if you want to come see me, I'm at such and such place. Here's the room number. This is a person that has poured into me the last 17 years I've been in Louisville. I'm like, it's no way in the world. One day as a principal, I called this individual. I was at Big Elementary School. I was actually crying when I called my mentor. And the reason I was crying because I was asked to go to Big Elementary. I was a principal at Foster Elementary, went over to Big. Big and Foster had similar starts, but my staff had helped turn around things at Foster. So going over to Big, it was like, well, be ready, Gun. This is what Foster used to be like. So I walk in the building within the first 5 to 7 minutes, and this is no joke. It was like 36 chairs were thrown in different classrooms. So I'm not one that functions really well with kids running anything, right? So I just stopped school. Everybody needs to come down here, talking to the whole school, this, that, and the other. It ended up being a great 4 months for me. But nonetheless, I called this person and I was crying on the phone. Next thing I knew, she was pulling up in the parking lot. Give me 5 minutes of your time, right? So when I saw that she was at the hospital today, I'm like, absolutely, I'm going to go see you. Get there, find out she's going to be in there for a little while, right? She's not doing well at all, although the text message said I'm doing okay. So I texted TJ and I was like, hey man, I might be a little bit late. Again, I get there about 9, sometime a little bit, maybe about 9:30 is when I finally find out where she is in this hospital. So I'm sitting with her and I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to be late, but this investment in my time is well worth it. As I was leaving, she told me, she said, take care of yourself. She was like, I'm not too good at being sick. And I looked at her and I called her mom. I was like, Mom, it's not that you're not good at being sick. You're not good in taking care of yourself. This is a person who served for over 40 years in public education. So all of you all who work tirelessly with youth in our community, a couple of things. One, I'm going to challenge y'all in just a second, but I'm going to pause in that story and going back to It's a Great Day to Be Alive. That's how my morning started. Then ran up the steps. You all might have seen me. I popped in, went back to say hello to Brother Christopher back there, dapped him up. I'm like, okay, I'm still going to give this message this morning. Mr. Johnson comes up, taps me on my shoulder. Hey, Gunn, I need to talk to you. Go outside. What's up, man? I'm about to go in here and, talk to these youth serving folks because I love them and I love what they do. He's like, man, somebody just hit your car. I'm like, somebody just hit my car. So that's what I had to do. So I had to leave and I went to the parking lot. So then again, it's still a great day to be alive, right? I see this young man, he's just shaking. He's like, man, I'm so sorry. Like, I hit your car. First thing I asked him, I said, well, did you do it on purpose? He said, no, man, I ain't do it on purpose. I was like, don't worry about it. It's a car, right? It got a mark on it. It got a dent on it. Whatever it is, it can be fixed. So I tell you all that to let you know, one, I'm sorry for being late the first time. Two, I'm sorry for being late the second time. But I still wanted you all to know what I was doing and wanted you to know it's a great day to be alive. So to the challenge, and I got to look on my phone because these are some questions I want to make sure I get them right, because as I was sitting with my mother in the hospital this morning, my mother mentor, I wrote them down because when she said to me, I'm not good at being sick, and my response to her was, you not good of taking care of yourself. I thought about the people that I would be seeing this morning. Like, I wanted to show y'all a quick video clip. Let's get hyped. Let's rah. Y'all got all of that. If you're working with youth in this community, you already have your why. It's already in your heart that you want to make sure that the young folks you are influencing, the young folks that you're developing, the young folks you're mentoring, the young folks you're pouring into, the young folks that you might see more than your own young folks if you have children at home, you want to make sure they're okay. So y'all don't need that message. My challenge to you all is not to think about all of the youth that you serve. My challenge for you all this morning is to think about yourself. Yeah, let's get a little selfish, as some people would call it. Think about yourself. So whoever you are, wants you to get grounded. Don't think about what you're going back to. Don't think about the emails you're not checking. Don't think about the argument that you got in. Don't think about the insurance company that I need to call after I get finished with you all. Think about yourself. And my challenge to you all is, are you willing to invest in yourself as much as you are into others? I'm going to let that sit for a second. I'm going to ask it again. Are you willing to invest as much in yourself as you are into others? The first part of that, I want you all, and I'm going to give you some time. This is my teacher wait time. I was a great principal, but I was a hell of a teacher. So I'm going to make sure that you have time to let this sink in. My first question for you all is, if you could invest in yourself to make yourself a little bit better version of yourself, what would you do? Would that take some of your time? Would that take resources? Maybe it's a massage every Friday, right? Maybe it's getting your nails done. Maybe it's getting your hair cut. Maybe it's going to the barbershop, getting cut up. Like, I don't know what it is that you enjoy doing, but if you could invest in yourself, something that you know if you did, if you made the time to do, despite your busy schedule, that you would be a better version of yourself, what would that be? First question. Second question, what would it cost? If it's a haircut, that might be $40, $50, $60 for the fellas in here who go to the barbershop. Ladies, I have no idea how much it costs to get your hair done. If that's something that you do, I heard so it sounds like it's more than 40, 50, 60. So whatever that thing is, invest in yourself to make yourself a better version of yourself. What would it cost? Money, time, other. So I'll let y'all sit with that just for a second. The teacher in me wants to come around and start calling on folks randomly. So if I come up to you and put a mic in front of your face, just go ahead and answer. Okay, so the question is, if there was something that you can do to invest in yourself, to make yourself a better version of yourself, if you were a better version of yourself, would you be better or worse at your job and your role? I'll ask you again. If you were a better version of yourself, would you be better or worse in your previous or in your current role? On count of three, just tell me, better or worse. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so taking you somewhere. So if you could invest in yourself, what would it cost? You all have that answer. By investing in yourself, it would make you better at your job. Being better at your job means that you can better serve those in the community. What would it cost? Right? So the last question I have for you, and this is one that I really want you to just sit with for a minute. Are you worth it? Are you worth that investment in yourself? Because I know you're worth it to those that you serve. And when I said it earlier, I saw a lot of head nodding. I have a 16-year-old daughter and I have an 11-year-old son. For those 20 years I was in education, I never once was able to take my children to school on their first day, except for when they both went to the school, Foster Elementary, where my daughter was in 4th grade and my son was in 1st. Outside of that, I never saw a first day of school. My son and my daughter couldn't participate in after school activities. Why not? Because dad's going to work at 6 a.m. He's not getting home to about 6:30 p.m. My wife ain't the best chef, so then I'm coming home cooking, saying hi to everybody, and then I'm going to bed. So the reason I'm talking to you all about this today, I know you're passionate about what you do, but I also want you to understand that you are worth it. Because the woman who I just left, again, over 40 years of service to the community, to hear her say, I'm just not good at being sick. For me to share with her, no, you're just not good at taking care of you. To take care of yourselves. I need you to know that you are worth it. I need you to know that a small investment of your time or a small investment of your money is going to make you better, not worse at your job. And then the last thing that I want to share with you all, thinking of my mother mentor, are you all going to start, if you're not already, because I don't want to assume that you're not, but are you going to start taking care of yourself when you want to? Or in her case, when you have to? She no longer has a choice. She's faced with something right here, right now, that ain't going away. She can't avoid it. So all of that said, hopefully you all took that little exercise to heart. Hopefully everybody planning on whatever that little thing is that you do. Because after I leave here, I got another meeting. After that meeting, I got another meeting. So after my meetings and things, I'm going to invest in myself. I'm getting me a double cheeseburger. All facts. I'm going to tell y'all what's going to be on it too. It's going to be some grilled onions, some grilled mushrooms, a little ketchup. Next to that is going to be a big old plate of fries. And then next to that is going to be like a cookies and cream milkshake. I'm not telling my kids about it because they ain't coming with me. I'm not telling my wife about it because I'm not sharing. But that small investment, that small investment of my time today is going to make it that much better to go look at this dent that's in my truck. All right. So invest in yourselves. Thank you all for your service. I mean it when I say it. Because of what you do, I'm in love with you. Thank you for what you do with our community. If there's any way that I can be of assistance, please let me know. But by God, take care of yourself. Appreciate y'all.
Check. Thank you, Robert. Hey, man, it's a great day to be alive. It is a great day to be alive. I'm surprised Antonio's still in the room. First thing he said to me when Robert grabbed the mic was, I do not want to follow up Robert. And that's because he's a smart guy, but we have no choice. We're going to plow through. We want to try to get this, get through so much important stuff and so we can all break bread together. So Antonio.
Hello, thank you. Hello, families. Good to see y'all. Again, as many of you know, I am serving in a different capacity with the organization. So I'm no longer on the youth success team, but it's still great to see you all. And please continue to invite me to all of your events and things that you have going on, because I still enjoy going to those. But yeah, so I'm here to talk about the SRYB, which is our social emotional learning measurement tool. So if you have not used it before, this is a tool that we use to measure social emotional learning within our young people. So a lot of the programming that you all provide has some of these elements, some type of social emotional learning element that's within that. Oh, I need to click it on. Thanks. So the purpose of it, like I said, is to measure the social emotional learning within your young people. So this is something that is low stakes. This isn't something that goes into their JCPS record. Something that you should keep along for them, or that counts against them or anything. It's something that you can use to inform your programming. So if you see that your young are scoring low on like teamwork or something like that, then maybe that means as an organization, you should provide more opportunities for them to work together so that they can develop those skills. And so also, it's not a clinical assessment or evaluation on your young people. So if you do use this tool, this does not make you a clinician, certified therapist, or anything like that. So like I said, this is low stakes. All right. So some of the skills that this measures and that we want to build within young people are up here. So you got emotion management, empathy, teamwork, responsibility, initiative, and problem solving. So within the programs that you all are offering, it probably has some type of elements. Of course, problem solving, having teamwork, that you probably don't do things by themselves. So all of these elements are things that you want to see in your young people, and as they grow and develop, that they are also developing in these domains here as well. Okay, so the 4 domains that are a part of SRYB, staff rating of youth behavior, is expresses emotion knowledge. So being able to identify positive and negative emotions. So sometimes our young people would have some behaviors, but they may not be able to label or have a name to it. And so that is a skill that we all must know, especially as we grow up and come into the roles that we are now, is being able to have the knowledge to be able to identify those things. Behaviorally manages emotions. So how are they expressing that? What does it look like when they express themselves? Displays social role mastery. So a lot of times, when we are doing the programming, it's not just one-on-one. They are interacting with other youth. They are interacting with adults as well. So do they know? Are they socially aware? Are they self-aware in regards to those spaces? And then displays goals driving mastery. So problem solving is something that we all must have, a skill that we all must have. So what does that look like in your space with your young people in regards to their problem solving? So these are the 4 domains that that the SRYB measures. And so now this is what it looks. So it's in an Excel sheet. And so what it looks like, as a staff member, you will have interactions with your young people. And so you would go through and say, for the first one, identifies and names emotions. So I felt mad, upset, blah, 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 blah. So how well does this correlate to the young person that you serve? Is it exactly like this youth? Is it a lot like this youth? And so on. And so you would just put a score in whatever that is and just go down the line. And then up at the top, that's what it would look like. You put a score between 1 and 5, and then you do a time 1 in the fall, and then you do a time 2 in the spring. So we would hope to see that there would be some progress made between the fall and the spring whenever you did that. And then it gives you an average of the two. Okay, and so you do that through all of those domains, and then here at the bottom, you have a visual of what that looks like for all the young people that you have observed. So you got the time 1 and the time 2, and then the average for each of those domains. Okay, so like I said, this is a good tool to use to measure the social emotional learning within your young people. If you have grants and things that you apply for, you can use this data to put that in there to show what's going on and how young people are developing from the time they stepped into it until the time that they left, or whatever time has passed that they are developing while they are there with you. Okay, so this is a free tool for you all to use. There will be a training on September 26th. And so they'll walk through the entire the tool with you. They'll show you how to use it, and any questions that you have, you will be able to ask there. And so I'll spotlight one of our organizations, which is I Would Rather Be Reading. So they use the SRYB to do a research a research study, because their curriculum has a lot of social emotional learning elements in it, and so they use that as like a baseline or whatnot for it. And so there's a lot that you can do with this data. So if you don't collect data on social emotional learning, this is something that is robust. It is scientifically proved. There's been a lot of research and everything on it, so it is validated to use. Okay, our fall observation dates, which means that you have to have your time 1 observation. So you went through and you scored your young people, is due by November 23rd. Okay, and then for the spring, it'll be April 28th. All right, so that's it. Well, we don't do questions, do we? So if you have any questions, just come to me afterwards, and then I can give you more details. But make sure that you attend the training on September 26th. We will send out an invite to your email so that you all can sign up for that. Thank you all.
Okay. This is one of the tools that we have the capacity to serve everyone. So our goal for you all is you will help young people develop the skills that they need to be ready to learn and be successful at home, in the neighborhood, and in life. This tool helps you demonstrate the impact that you're having on those young people. These are resume skills. They're not necessarily taught in school. These are skills that you support young people developing in your programs. And if you want to demonstrate those, please use this research-based valid tool. We will help you, right? I do want to say I'm a terrible spokesmodel for Eva Snaden. Eva, for the past 2 years, has run one of our mental health support offerings for you all, and it's called Sister Circle. We know that women of color are a rock and a foundation for youth supports in our communities. Eva runs a facilitated support group for women of color that are working with young people called Sister Circle. There is a handout in your folder for Sister Circle. It's on our menu of supports. You can sign up using the QR code to be communicated with and to be a part of that. I didn't bring them with me, but the feedback I've gotten from the first 2 years is like, I mean, almost brings me the tears when I hear people say such great things about having that group of people together to be able to vent, talk in a safe space, and be supported. So I highly encourage you to be a part of that Sister Circle group. The other half of our mental health supports is for year 2 now, is aspire to be that's why I love coming to work today, every day. Why it is a great day to be alive to me, because of the wonderful people that I am blessed to be able to work with. And Aspire to Be is another example of those wonderful folks. They are here to talk to you about the supports they'll be providing this year for you all. So I would like to introduce Truck Lee Booker.
Good morning, good afternoon. I'm normally on the other end of the spectrum. I'm normally the one that is listening and not talking, so this is out of my comfort zone. But I'm here to introduce Aspire to Be. Ariel Clark is one of our newest clinicians. Maisha is our office manager. We are a mental health agency. Our purpose is to inspire and encourage everyone that comes through our door to find balance and harmony in everything we do. The thing that I'm really excited about this year is that we will be offering 10 sessions of individual sessions to build healthy techniques and new coping skills. We talk about helping ourselves, right? We talk about being healthy, but do we really take time? We are obviously servicing our youth, so we have to start taking time for ourselves. A great way to do it is to come talk to somebody. It's free, so why not use it? Use it to pour back into yourself. So we're excited to continue to that. This year, we are gonna be doing 5 workshops, Johari Window, grief, substance abuse, burnout, and emotional intelligence. These workshops are neat. We try to make them very interactive. Come out and kind of network with us and just basically learn about some of these subjects. We also provide group counseling. I'm really excited this year because we are going to be doing rolling out the HUGS program, which is helping you grow successfully. Okay, it's about emotional educational curriculum for our young youth. Basically, we're teaching them in school how to identify their emotions, how to deal with their emotions, and what to do with their emotions. So we're excited about that. Obviously, we do love notes, which is healthy relationships. And another one that we're rolling out is grief. Grief hits everybody, so this is something really important and dear to me. So I'm really excited. I'm excited to be part of the Metro United Way. Obviously, I'm very nervous because, like I said, I'm normally listening and not talking. But please come and what? There you go. Okay. Yes. You said 10 minutes.
You're
That's
Ready?
it. All right. Here's a shout out to all the introverts in the world, in of which I am one. The only difference is that I have been thrown into the fire so many times that I have to lead a conversation that my comfort level is a little higher. Inside, I am like red as a beet and nervous as all get out. Next up is we're going to transition to academic supports. Sydney Bland is with Bellarmine University to talk about our tutoring program with Bellarmine. So Sydney, take us away.
All right. My name is Sydney Bland. I'm the Assistant Director for Community Engagement at Bellarmine University. Thanks. Some of the things under me are, of course, the RISE tutoring and Bonner leaders and civic engagement. So when we talk about tutoring and preparing students, one of the big things, of course, that we all are aware of is the COVID-19 pandemic. Is it over yet? I'm not sure. A lot of us aren't really sure. But the thing that we took notice of was that our kiddos K through 12 took notice of COVID-19. And so in the situation that was already in trouble in terms of education, we added this on top. So not only are they falling behind in academics, but they're also falling behind because they don't have food, because a relative died, because they're sick, somebody in their family is sick. So if you think about it, we were distracted, we were concerned, we had all of our issues, but our children had that too, maybe 100-fold. So what we needed to do is find out how we could bridge that gap in education. So those were some of the essential questions. How can we build relationships? And most importantly, academics, yes, but also building relationships, building that trust is important as well. And how can we take away some of those barriers and keep in mind equity? So we came up with the RISE tutoring program. In this program, we have about 15 college students who I interview and kind of go over the process, talk about education, kind of fill it through in their heads. The RISE program is very good. We'll talk about reciprocal relationships in a little bit, but the purpose is to make sure that we decrease those inequities in education and make sure that we provide professional tutoring services. And those students that I recruit are not all ed majors, some of them are. But we take anyone who has a heart for community education and a heart for children. So here's a little bit of our reciprocal partnerships model. Here are some of the people. I know I've seen some of our friends in here, Backside Learning, Wesley House. So what we want to do is make sure that our relationship is reciprocal. So the students that we have are new, some are freshmen, some are seniors, some are sophomores. It's just a good mix. But we want to make sure that when they're going, they have a good understanding. So they are trained thoroughly by Metro United Way before they go. We make sure that we pay attention to what we can give in terms of time, attention, mentorship, and things like that. But also we want to make sure that in their college journeys, as they're developing as students, that they're getting something from going to these organizations. So we want to make sure that they're getting a varied experience, multicultural experiences. A lot of our students don't have the same experiences as some of our kiddos. So we want to make sure that it's reciprocal and going around both directions. So here's a little bit of the timeline and how this program worked. So we wanted to make sure we had a basic plan and made sure that they got training. So Antonio, thank you for doing the training with them. That training kind of opened their eyes, especially because they're not all ed majors, to what it's like to kind of work with students and tutor them. We wanted to make sure that we removed financial barriers. So our tutors are paid. They're paid $20 an hour to take care of these kiddos. And we wanted to make sure that we had assessment and evaluations to make sure that what's provided is actually high quality work. Here's a little picture of some of the work that was being done by one of our tutors. We had a couple of realizations as we were working on this program. We want to make sure that it's reciprocal, and it was. We also realized that growth takes time. So with every education program, we want the kids to be ready. We want them to be done now. We want to make sure they get everything that they need immediately. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. Trial and error. Some of the students truly enjoyed it and some didn't need it. And that's okay. We wanted to realize that person-to-person interaction was always best. We'll talk a little bit about the Bridgeway platform because we did have virtual tutoring as well as in-person tutoring. Education also is not linear. So some of our students like to build that relationship, build that trust, but they may need some assistance in other areas of education. So we wanted to make sure that we partnered in that way. And then lastly, the pandemic has done a number on our K through 12 kiddos and our university kiddos. And so we just want to realize that everyone is in a kind of crazy moment at this time, but we want to make sure that we build each other up. So here's a little bit about our methods. So we did start out online just for safety reasons. We didn't know what COVID was going to be. We didn't know how much of an impact it was going to have, but we wanted to remain cautious about that. So we started online with the Bridgeway platform, only online. The pros, access, right? Everyone had access to online, students, family, community partners, and it was easy to track. Some of the cons, it's difficult to schedule things online. As we know, a lot of us were online doing Teams or Zoom. It's hard to focus. I'll just be honest about that. It really is, even as an adult. And then there's a little bit of disconnection, a little bit of frustration with not having someone physically there to help you. In-person tutoring, it was a lot easier to schedule. Face-to-face tutoring was productive, relational, and had greater attendance, especially with children. If you want to connect with them on a personal level, being there in person is going to do it a whole lot more than being online. So here are a few closing thoughts. There's a definite disconnect in education. As we know, the pandemic did a number on our kiddos, but there was already something there that needed to be worked through anyway. The pandemic gave us about 2 years of non-instructional, traditional instructional formatting. So this has kind of disrupted their education as a whole. It's been devastating. And I think we've all seen that. And then we have to make sure that we bridge the gap if we're going to see successful graduates in the future. So not only is this an issue currently, but we have several years of catching up to do. And then community partners are the lifeblood of society, and they can be a great resource for educators. And we have many more students, unfortunately, than we do tutors. But we're working on that constantly and giving as much as we can. So those are my final thoughts. Any questions or anything?
All right. I'm always so tempted to wax poetic, and I just want you to know, for folks who have been participating in these academic supports, these evolve to better fit your all's needs. And then, going in person, and instead of focusing on training you all to be tutors and just relying 100% on Bellarmine students to do the tutoring is part of that evolution. We have a couple more academic success supports for you. First, I would like to introduce, I Would Rather Be Reading is one of our network partners. They're one of you, but they had this just amazing curriculum, mindful literacy, that we just felt the need to share it with you all. And we partnered with them last year to do that, and they're back again this year. I want to introduce Allison Ogle to come up and talk about mindful literacy.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm the co-founder of I Would Rather Be Reading. We were founded in 2018, and our mission was equitable access to literacy intervention for kids who were pretty behind in academics. But then also knowing that before kids can engage in anything academic, they have to have social emotional development to be able to get to all of these lofty goals that we have for them. So the literacy part was easy. I was an educator in JCPS. I actually worked with Mr. Gunn at BIC for a time. So the literacy part was like spot on. I felt like we were pretty solid on that. But we were cycling through like social emotional learning curriculums, and I just didn't love them. And our kids didn't really love them either. They were kind of grown when we brought them out, and they were pretty unimpressed. So, I have to be honest, these slides are a little old, so I might not stick to them, but that's our mission. So we decided we were just going to develop our own, and it's called Mindful Literacy. And it bridges literacy and social emotional development. It's based on CASEL's core competencies. So I'm sure everybody's familiar with CASEL, the collaboration for academic and social emotional learning. And they have 5 core competencies for youth to develop. And they start at self-awareness and they move all the way up to social awareness. And those skills build on each other. And our youth need targeted practice in these skills. And with everything going on in the school system and all the ups and downs, that is something that is truly kind of pushed to the back burner, and our kids really aren't getting that. So as out of school time providers, we can do that. We have the time, we have the kids, but we just need the resources. So like TJ mentioned, we have done this for a couple of years now. And I see a few people in the room that we have trained on mindful literacy, and they implemented it beautifully. So we gave the kits. The kits come with everything that you need to teach lessons. It comes with a teacher manual. It's pretty easy peasy, teacher friendly. The only hang up was that as nonprofits and youth serving organizations, we're short on a lot of stuff. We're short on time, we're short on money, we're short on staffing. And so it was hard. The feedback that we got from our partner organizations was that it was hard to implement the way that they wanted to. So what is different this year is instead of just training the organizations and the staff on the curriculum, we are going to come to you. We are going to bring an educator to your organization for a 9-week enrichment period. That educator will come twice a week, and they will give you SRYB support. So to give your pre and your post, they'll give you some support with that, with both the assessment and the analysis. They will help you decide on where they should start, right? So maybe your kiddos need to start at the very first foundation, which is self-awareness. But maybe they don't. Maybe your SRYB scores show something else, and they'll help you decide where you should start. They'll come twice a week, and at the end, they will leave their materials with you so that you can continue mindful literacy. And also, it's just helpful to be able to see it in action, to see somebody else do it, and then sometimes that makes it easier to keep it going. If you have questions, please reach out to me. Thank you.
So if you're, as with all our services, if you're interested, click the QR code on the menu of supports on the left-hand side of your folder. Those are two of our academic supports that we offer you all. I also just want to highlight a couple more that are in the back at the right side of your folder. We have two kind of online web-based virtual learning supports for the children that you serve. The first one is from Anyone Could Read. Kenny, wave your hand over there. Kenny is an awesome guy. I'm telling you, it's the reason I love my job is all the great people I get to interact with. Kenny is you know a person who saw the need and developed a program for young people to work on their academic achievement, and it's explained in this handout. It's virtual, and he has been working with some of our organizations already and has capacity to work with more. So we encourage you to look at the handout, reach out to Kenny if you're interested in those. The other one is Age of Learning, which is an online curriculum for kiddos K through 2, which is free. And also reach out to us if you're interested in that online web-based learning tool, Age of Learning. But without further ado, we have a partnership that we started 2 years ago with Butterfly Communications, because one of the things that our work with you all that we came to realize is that the way that support and funding for youth service organizations is in our community, in our region, it kind of forces us to compete with each other, and it is highly inequitable. As a guy who ran a youth success RFP this year, I can tell you that grant applications are inequitable. In the funding community solution to that has been to, oh, let's have some grant writing workshops. All right, well, grant writing workshops are cool and they build people's knowledge and capacity, but they do nothing to address the inequity. Because, and just to point out one thing, so, in this room, you guys are literally competing for funding against us. We apply for funding, we seek funding from the same small group of funders in our community that you all do. In this wing over here, we have a grant team. Guess how many people are on that grant team? 5 full-time people. How many of you all raise your hand if your full-time job is writing grants? Dennis, you're the only one. Dude, that's your full-time job? You don't run programs, you don't evaluate programs. That is not your full-time job. All right, it is an extra job. It's just, so, you guys are what did my dad, chief cook and bottle washers, and not to demean the role, because you know how important I think you are, but you guys are like the CEOs, you're the program director, you're the chief development officer, and you got kids every day. So a grant workshop ain't gonna help. So we started looking for, originally the plan was, let's contract with a grant writer. And we started asking around, and everybody kept saying Semicoola, 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 Semicoola. So somehow, I don't know if I cold called you or I emailed you, or I reached out to Semicoola, and then I'm telling you, it was like 2 minutes into the conversation, I said, or Felicia said, this is the person. That was 2 years ago. And it is the person. And I know it's a long introduction, and we were on time until then, but I want to hand off to Tarsha Semicoola to talk to you about our Kaji project, our partnership together. This wouldn't be happening without the City of Louisville Yes team and our work, and without Semicoola.
Thank you. Can you give me that little clicker thing? I guess.
I was just trying to figure out how I was gonna know how to work things when I got up here. I was concerned. Which button is it that makes it go forward? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so oh, wait a minute, I wasn't going forward yet, but okay, there we go. And this one right here. Okay, I need some instruction. Oh wow, how's everybody doing? Oh wow, this has been quite a journey. And I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about the UKG. Like he said, they gave me a call, and I have an agency called Butterfly. And I was sitting inside of my agency. It's actually called hashtag BC Headquarters. It's an incubator. We incubate nonprofit and for-profit agency there. And I received a call from, well, he's walking out, but Mr. Delahanty saying that they would like to talk to me. And I'm like, talk to me about what? I've never had any, sit down conversations with Metro United Way. I think I had been in here maybe once or twice with an agency that I was working with, and I was concerned. I was like, did I do something? What do you want me for? I don't know, like nobody at Metro United Way. And they basically said that they needed some grant writing support. I had done a proposal for an agency, and I don't even see Mr. Abdi here. Who he was struggling with grant writing for his agency. Also, keep in mind that with his agency is a smaller community of Louisville, and they had a big cultural aspect. Their model and their approach to how they help community was so different than how people assist community. So he's really struggling in regards to how to compose a grant proposal. Okay. So I was able to assist him. We have a program called the Douglas Project Initiative that we started in 2020. And I had to go back and say this before I even start moving this. During the pandemic, all of a sudden, there was money for for-profit agencies. For-profit agencies weren't really supposed to apply for grants, but because of the economy and they needed to stay afloat, all of a sudden, grant money became available for for-profit agencies. Well, with that said, they needed to find grant writers, folks that could help them deal with proposals. And so we decided to start an initiative called the Douglas Project Initiative, which was named after my father, who walked with Martin Luther King back in the day when he actually made his way to Louisville. Okay. And that's where it all started. We decided that we was going to start an initiative that was going to help grassroots, small agencies, whether they were nonprofit or for-profit agencies, develop grant proposals and program proposals and funding proposals and get them in the game. And we wanted to help them, especially if they focused on providing services for marginalized communities and people. So when we got on Facebook and did a live stream, and there was 3 of us in my living room, and we called ourselves the Scribes, okay? And we said, we want to start the Douglas Project Initiative, and if you're a small agency, and if you need assistance, and we didn't think nothing of it, and the next thing you know, I'm standing right here. It blew up. And Mr. Abdi was one of those individuals, and his proposal made it to an RFP with Metro United Way. And they took a look at it, and they said, so who helped you? And that's where we are today. I'm so excited to be standing in front of you. This is a major, what I call community endeavor. I am going to be inviting some people up who's going to be helping me because it has grown, grown, and grown. I just feel blessed. There was a gentleman that got up and said that we were doing God's work. You better believe that all day, every day. It is not as simple as working on a proposal, but there's so many challenges and barriers that go with being a small agency that just want to help young people. It is nothing to play with. So is that Mr. Carr? That is Mr. Carr. I'm sorry. How you doing, Mr. Carr? I just had to say hi to him. So with that said, the UKG. Now, when Metro United Way came to me, they said, well, we need some help. We need grant writing support. And I was offended. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm nobody's secretary. I do have like an arrogant way. So bear with me. I was warned by Mr. Delahanty that this was being recorded, so I had to watch what I say. So he did say that to me. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna watch what I say because Simicula, God bless her. So I am a poet, I am a writer. So I told them, I said that if we're gonna do a project, it needs to have a name if I want to be involved with it. Okay. I'm not gonna be called grant writer support. I am a person of color. I am a creative person. So you need to find me a name. And so Felicia Young, who's not with us right now, she's in Texas. She was tasked of finding a name for this project that I was considering working on. So when she came back with the name, I was so impressed. She said, we're gonna call this project the Ukaji. I was like, now I'm ready to do something. Ukaji means growth in Swahili. So it has that cultural aspect that is needed to put a little flavor, a little seasoning on a community endeavor that is going to help us impact this community. Okay. So here's the quote that I found that went with it. It says, the growth and development of people is the highest calling of leadership. And that is so true. How do you help people grow? How do you help people develop? That's not an easy task. It's not easy for so many reasons because you don't have the resources. Folks, sometimes you got to push them to grow. Okay. Have you ever been around somebody you're trying to get to grow and they're like this? Oh my goodness. There's so many environmental issues, racial issues, social issues, but a BIPOC agency is expected to grow just like another traditional agency. Like Tupac says, it's the rose that grew from concrete. Okay, so here we go. Here's the background. So it says here, the goal is to address a disparity because it's a real disparity in this city. We don't have enough Black agency in the city of Louisville. I don't care what you say, until we get to the point that we have enough Black agency, we need to put Black agency in Louisville. So it says here, in response to an obvious disparity that exists for capacity building resources for local grassroots youth development organizations, and this was when we first started, Metro United Way's Blocks program, and it's not called that anymore, it's called the Youth Success Network, partnered with Butterfly to provide much needed process-centered program and agency development assistance to we started with 6, local nonprofits in order to do the following: strengthen their structural resolve, prepare them to compete for funding, and position them as viable agencies that our local community depends on. And that is still our focus and goals right now as the Ukaji has grown. The issue that is addressed, there's just no money, no adequate resources. It says not enough funders are effectively investing in grassroots movements. Some are modeling successful strategies for putting financial resources and decision-making in the hands of just frontline organizations. But most philanthropic funding portfolios still lack diversification. There's a term, and we're looking at it right now. It's called philanthropic redlining. You can't just pick 4 major agencies and give them all the money, and then all the rest of the agencies, they don't get much of nothing. I call it breadcrumbs, okay? And then you have all these agencies fighting for that money. Just picture this. You have some mice, they're in a cage. You haven't given them any food. You throw a piece of cheese in the cage. They're gonna fight for that. They're gonna bite each other because they're hungry, okay? And I'm so sorry, but that's actually how some of these agencies are positioned for resources in this city. And we have to change that culture. We have to find a way to provide more resources for the smaller grassroots agencies, which, excuse me, are really doing most of the work. They're the ones that are helping our children, feeding our children, spending the time that is needed to cultivate and develop them. And we need to be giving them the resources that they need to keep impacting this community. Strategy. There goes Miss Rose. Who knows Miss Rose from ACE Project? She's in the first Ukaji, for sure. It says, provide process-centered capacity building and resource development via a locally owned and culturally inclusive agency that is effectual with developing marginalized nonprofits. So that was a long way of describing my agency. Okay. Because one of the things I felt that was very interesting is that these agencies had an opportunity to be engaged with us. They came into an environment where they were being led by another Black-led agency. They didn't have to go into an environment where it was foreign to them, and there can be a connection culturally as far as their development. And so I felt like that was so important, especially when we're trying to find a way to cultivate agency that we don't consider to be traditional. So you have a non-traditional agency, help them. Okay. All right, here we go. Now, this is process. Now, with all due respect, I consider myself a creative person, a poet, but I'm a show enough nerd. Okay. All day, every day. If you ask me a question about agency development or program development, you're gonna be like, she's a nerd. Because I'll just talk, and I'll have all this information. You'll be like, can she shut up? You know, like, for real, I'm a straight up nerd. And the reason why I say that is because when the agencies come to us, we engage them what we call process. Now, as you can see, there's two different processes here. The first process says agency development. So that's if you want to develop a 501c3, and we're going to talk about that a little bit because that has been included with this newest UKG. If you want to establish yourself as a youth serving agency, but you are not formatted structurally incorrect, that's what we're going to do. That is the new addition and component in regards to the UKG. And I'm pretty good at it as far as helping people develop themselves into 501c3s. Or if you're already a 501c3, guess what? We're going to continue on with that process to show you how to develop a relevant and competent, what we call funding tool, which is a program proposal. And I just want to say something about that real quick. With working with agencies, those, let's say, outside the UKG, we have somebody that'll walk into the office and say, well, I want you to do a grant for me. I was like, okay, I'll do a grant for you. It's no problem. I'll do a grant for you. I said, well, do you have any information about the program that you have? And do you know what they do? They will hand me an old grant proposal that they filled out, that they answered questions to. And I'm like, this is your program? So you don't have a solid program that you have built that has all the components to it that I can look at and draw from. They're like, no. So I want you to think about this. Your program is not the questions that you answer on a grant proposal. The funder should not know how to develop and cultivate your program. Your program should be already developed and cultivated for them to support. And so one of the things we're focusing on doing is getting these agencies to understand that they are agents, okay? That they should already have a developed program that basically should be innovative, have their own model, because I'm really big into having Black models. I'm gonna talk about that too, because we should be able to understand that how we approach impacting the community, how we utilize curriculum, how we define service has meaning. And also it should be copyrighted. I'm gonna put that in there too. Okay? So we gotta look at changing how we approach and use best practice when we are working on getting funding or utilizing our programs and getting support for them. And we can't be dependent on funders to ask questions of how our program should be developed. We should already have those answered, okay? Because the goal is for the funders to support us, not for us to try to figure out how to fit into their idea of how we impact the community, okay? So it's process-centered. I got 1 more minute left? Okay, all right. Now, these are components. Right now, there's me, there's Metro United Way. We're gonna be doing additional support. I might go over a little bit. And funders, and also now we have a new partner, which is the city of Louisville, that's allowed us to increase the number of folks that we can assist with this program. The results that we'll have with the UKAG is we're going to be doing established agency narratives. There's going to be some 501c3s created. We're going to create some more proposals. And we're going to also within this program actively submit submittals, because there were some folks that received some funding through those submittals by being a part of the UKAG. Okay. So it says here, UKAG means growth in Swahili. So we started out with 6 agencies that were selected in-house for cohort 1. Then we went to 14 agencies that were selected in-house with cohort 2. And now we're up to 40 agencies, which is actually going to be an online application because it has gotten to that point. Okay, for sure. Now, apparently I talked a little bit too much, but there is a flyer inside of your folder that is giving you information for those newer agencies that have not been a part of cohort 1 or cohort 2 that are interested in being a part of the UKAG that is coming up this year. There is some components of it in regards to it. There's 2 tracks to it, as well as a process. In regards to community information sessions, the applications will be rolling. We really had conversations about how we wanted to make these applications culturally inclusive. I'm really big on the fact that we need to do community information sessions. I like for folks to see me, not just see something that's online about a program, but you actually get to see me, see my afro, and I get to see yours. And so we can have dialogue and answer questions about this program. There's also program benefits that I know some folks were involved with the UKAG last year. They're gonna be like, what? You'll get, there's program development, grant writing support, 501c3 agency development support, UKAG Leadership Institute, and there will be a $6,700 beneficiary component. This is unrestricted capacity building funding. And I love to use the word unrestricted because we're tired of people telling us how to spend our money. We gotta spend money. Okay, but I'm gonna leave that alone. Leave that alone. So I think that I've used up all of my time, but I do want to say real quick, can you say this for me? And then we will be done. I won't use up any more of your time. Go ahead.
So up here on the table, we have a QR code. This is where you will go at to get the information form. Want you to fill this out. We'll have the QR code on the beginning of each table. Fill this out. And then once we have your information, the application will come available on September the 15th. We will then email you the link to the application for you to complete.
Yes, thank you.
Well, gee, I don't want to follow Simakula if you want to know the truth. She is amazing. There are more benefits to this program than just her writing 4 grant applications to you that she described. She's building your capacity as an organization to be sustainable over the long term, but she's a great grant writer and money talks, and she's helped organizations raise over a couple $100,000 so far. And the other thing I do want to point out is that this 4 cohorts of 10, 40 organizations altogether is just for Jefferson County. But my promise to you all, for the folks outside the county, if I see the demand, I will go up to Adria Johnson and find money for organizations outside of Jefferson County for this program. Without further ado, another cool, I love this work, and it's because of y'all, it's because of the people that with the passion and commitment to help young people. This organization I discovered them because they applied to us for money, and I reached out to them and said, hey, I'm sorry you didn't get a grant from us, but is there a way that we can form a partnership for you to help our youth serving organizations? It is a 100% volunteer run nonprofit organization called Animus Foundation. And their mission in life is help to solve the digital divide. And what they do is they go, if you have a building with internet connection that you use to serve your young people, they will come in and assess your capacity with that technology and help you approve it for free. And we've been working with them for 2 years. I want to introduce Jason, the CEO founder, to talk more about Animus.
Thank you. And the reason we didn't get the grant money is because we didn't have the help we needed in our volunteer organization to write the grants, but it worked out. So thanks, TJ. Hi, again, my name is Jason Chodnicki. I'm the executive director of the Animus Foundation. And the Animus Foundation, that's the broad mission statement. But as TJ mentioned, the real mission is to bridge the digital divide. And if you're not aware, the digital divide is simply the gap between those who have access to technology and those who don't. And so I'd like to give you a little history lesson about our organization so you can kind of understand our motivations. It was 2016, and I was an IT manager at General Electric, and I had open positions on my team. And I had a colleague with the same scenario, and we weren't getting any applicants to apply, and it was starting to impact our work. And we're like, okay, let's address the issue. So of course we went to our HR department, we got some statistics and things like that. And there were a couple of things that we realized. One, there just weren't a lot of candidates. There weren't a lot of graduates that were eligible back in that time. And the other thing we realized is the candidates that we did had were not diverse. And we said, well, what's going on? And what became apparent to us then, that should have been apparent to us for a while, is there's a very large digital divide in the city of Louisville. And simply there were literally places in the city that just did not have connectivity to the internet. You couldn't even call a service provider and get access in certain areas in the city. And that's a problem. So we founded the Animus Foundation with that sole goal of to close that gap, to make sure that everyone would have access to technology. Now, where the name came, that was the next thing we had to figure out, is what we're going to name it. And so we said, okay, let's look back at our lives and try to figure out the incident or the occurrence, or who enabled us to have the access to technology that ultimately led to our careers. And I thought back to my youth. We didn't have much growing up. We didn't have a computer or technology for a while. And one day, my father, for whatever reason, decided that we needed a PC, and he scraped together some money and bought this Gateway, if you remember Gateway, his old computer, put it in the house and didn't really touch it. He didn't know what to do with it. But I was a kid, and I was like, well, I'm going to play with this. Now, we still didn't have internet. And one day, we got one of those CDs in the mail. Whatever, you remember, they used to do that, AOL or whatever. Yeah, exactly. And so Dad didn't know what that was, but I convinced him that we needed it. I don't know, I must have been 6 or something. And he's like, okay, whatever. And I mean, $10 a month was a lot for us, but that's the incident. I remember it vividly, hearing the, for those of you who had dial up, the noise, whatever, right? And I logged on, and I started learning about technology. I started self-teaching by just Googling things that were interesting to me. And that ultimately was the spark that ignited my career. That was the animus. That was the incident that I remember that led me to where I am now, where I'm like TJ said, we're a volunteer-led organization. All of our volunteers are managers or directors of IT organizations in the city. So as of now, I'm a director at UPS, where I lead a software development organization. But I would have never been able to get there if my parents hadn't been able to figure out the right things to get access to technology that led me to the career I have. So we said, we're going to call ourselves the Animus Foundation, because the spark that ignited my career is the same spark we want to give every kid in the city, period. Whatever we can do to do that. And we have very little overhead as of now. Like TJ said, we're a complete volunteer organization. We take all of our money we get in, that we write grants on nights and weekends, and we take that money and we turn around and we put it into projects. And many of our partners where we run projects are in this room now. Hi, Miss Barbara. And so what do we do? If we go to the next slide, we'll actually talk about some of the things that we do. This is kind of what TJ was talking about. We'll do anything that will help your organization bring access to technology to children, period, whatever that is. During the pandemic, that was the biggest time when we had the most need, because as probably all of you know this, when you were doing non-traditional instruction, and you brought kids in the organization. And a lot of people just made the assumption that the networking and the Wi-Fi was going to work. And all of a sudden, you've got 30 kids that turn on their cameras and all your Wi-Fi stops working. That happened everywhere. And so our phone was ringing off the hook. All 5, 10 of us at the time, all of our volunteers, and we said, hey, we got to get to action. And that's when we really hooked up with Metro United Way, who provided the bulk of our funding to be able to execute these projects, where we would go in and increase the capacity of your network to be able to provide your programming. Our goal when working with your organizations is to let you focus on your core competency, and your core competencies are usually not Wi-Fi, networking, computers, hardware, printers, installation. That's us. So we come to you, we help you fix that so you can do what you do best, which is helping our kids with whatever the programs are that you're doing. So that's what we do today. Still, we do our technology assessment. So we'll set up time, we'll come to your organization, we'll take a look at your needs, we'll provide recommendations, and we'll be honest about what funding we have, and we'll spend every penny that we can to get you what we were able to get you. And then when we can't, we'll either follow up later, or we'll get help with grants and try to get more to to find the need. Wi-Fi network improvement has been by and large our largest investment. And the reason is because we need places for kids to do homework. When they don't have internet at home, we could spend our time and resources installing internet and subsidizing internet in individual houses. But we found if we can get internet access in community centers or a public Wi-Fi hotspot in churches, that we make the most bang for our buck. And that's basically what we've done. We've installed, you'll see some pictures here in a minute, but basically a lot of our partners in this room, all the Boys and Girls Clubs in the city, Wesley House Community Service, several different churches, First Yosemite, I could go on and on and on, Trinity House, Backside Learning Center, even we did a project with them. And we've done several guest Wi-Fi spots, even outside of our partnership with Metro anyway. The Parkland Plaza Wi-Fi that's across from the Dare to Care in the Parkland neighborhood, that was us. We did it. It's free. We installed it, and kids can go get guest Wi-Fi, do their homework, period. So that's basically what we do. We also will occasionally do speeches and seminars. So if you want to take the next step on digital literacy, we will help with digital skills or get access to digital skills training. And what we like is to take even the next step when you see kids that maybe need exposure to coding skills or very intro level stuff, to be that spark, again, to ignite that interest to ultimately will result in a career in IT. We love to do that. So we'll do seminars on everything from robotics to cloud computing to whatever. We're happy. We have experts in every IT field that volunteer for us. And then finally, of course, equipment donation and configuration. That's kind of how we started. We collected laptops from different corporations and even the city of Louisville who were getting rid of laptops, and we reconfigured them and we gave them away for free to people who needed laptops, period. Again, anything we can do to help. So that's what we do. And then the next slide is just some pictures. I included here, just a bunch of random places that we were at and again, some of these are your buildings. And that's really it. So if there is anything that you have that is a program that you're trying to implement that involves the use of technology, and even if you're not sure if your program can handle what you're trying to achieve, call us and we'll just consult with you and say, hey, you might need this equipment, you may not. Or if you go in your building and you sit in your office and you've got Wi-Fi problems and your kids do, call us. Let's get it fixed. Thanks.
Thank you, Jason. We all have a story, and every one of our stories is unique and powerful. And thank you, Jason, for sharing yours. And you know how to connect, right? The menu of supports in your folder on the back side is a QR code. Once you click through that and tell us which of these supports you're interested in, then we follow up with you all to get you connected. Next up on the agenda is something is exclusive to Jefferson County. Jefferson County Public Schools has been a partner with the Youth Success Network in blocks for 10 years. And I'm not gonna, the fascinating thing is that this year we had to kind of start from scratch, and we did a new memorandum of agreement that got approved just this past Tuesday. So until Wednesday morning, I had no idea if they were going to be able to show up. But true to our partnership, true to the dedication of JCPS and the recognition of the power of the work you do, they were ready. And here they are. I want to introduce Tamara and Kyle.
Hello, everyone, and I think we're standing right between you and lunch, so we're going to be very brief. My name is Tamara Lewis. I'm the Executive Administrator in Research Department at JCPS, and I have partial of my team here that actually works with the OST partnership. One person that is instrumental to this process, and she's not here, is Nicole Hill. So when you get your materials, you'll see email, send your information to Nicole Hill. So I just wanted to give her that shout out. But also I have with me Dr. Leslie Taylor. She's a specialist in the research department. She's over program evaluation, and she also is the chair of the Institutional Review Board. That's a whole nother presentation, whole nother workshop that we will have to go into and talk about to you all about that. But last but not least, we have Cal Underwood, who's been working with the OST partnership program in the research department for years. And I think you said we've been 20 years working with OSTs. And essentially, we're just going to give a high level overview of how you all can access our JCPS student level data through Cascade. So I'm going to turn it over to Cal.
Well, we're running early, TJ. I mean, I think I got 20 slides or something like that. I got 2 slides. I've got like 90 more. So if I love this menu, by the way. So if you QR code TJ and TJ can hook you up with us. And if you think you know all this because you've worked with us for 20 years, maybe something's changed. So this is our list of forms we got to do. So this is first steps first. We got to get through the legal stuff. The legal stuff's what stops other school districts from what we do. When we go to conferences and we present this kind of partnership, other school districts say, oh, well, I print off a PDF and hand them a piece of paper once a year. That's what they get from us. Because they're scared. I mean, there's a lot of legal stuff we have to step through, and that's why it took us up until Tuesday night. We had a little rocky start to the school year. So we got up to Tuesday night, and then we got it Tuesday night. When the Board of Education doesn't call your thing out, you're good. It flew through. Nobody called us out. I think they're used to it at this point. And the superintendent's a big supporter of what we do here. So as long as you're cool with TJ and Metro United Way, then you're cool with us. So we've got a little bit more of a official vetting process that you guys go through now with TJ. But as long as you've got that QR code and you talk to TJ, I think you're vetted with us. Then we've got 3 different forms for you to fill out. You've got a form that you promise to keep our data confidential for the kiddos. So you're going to have, I've got the next screen shows you all the data you're going to get. You're going to have some sensitive information on these kids that come to your group. The parent has a form that they sign giving us permission to release that information to you. So you've got tutors. I love this menu. You've got tutors, you've got grants. Now you've got money to do things, and you've got tutors to help you out. Now what do you do? And there's some assessment that can happen by the tutors. There's some social emotional assessments that can happen on your own. But if you really want to align to the experience that the student's having in the classroom and dealing with what they're dealing with in the classroom, you probably want to check in on their school data to know what's going on in their life. If nothing else, to say, why'd you get suspended yesterday? What's going on with that? How'd you know that? I knew, don't worry, I got my people. All right. I got Kyle. All right. Kyle told me you didn't go to school 3 days this week. Where were you? Because you came here after school every day. It can't be called after school if you didn't go to school, right? So have those kind of conversations with my data, okay? The other form is the form that each of your employees fills out, hands to you, saying they will also promise to have those conversations, but to keep that data confidential just between them and the kid. And you guys know how it is. Don't get up in front of a room like this and go, hey, Johnny, what's up? Come on, you didn't go to school this week. That's confident. That's between Kyle and you and Johnny, okay? So you got to be careful about how you keep things around the office. And that's what my other 90 slides are for, okay? So keeping it real simple, we've got the ABCs of what's available on Cascade. and then a little bit more. We've got school attendance, we've got the behavior, we've got classroom grades. So you're going to be able to see, and more, those classroom grades are actually project-based grades, they're standard-based grades. So it's going to give you a little bit more description than a B in math. It's going to say a B in algebraic concepts, and it's going to dig into some of that. So even just the grades are more descriptive than what they used to be. And then we've got those state and district scores. I invite you every once in a while to watch the Board of Education meetings. You can go back and watch 100 of them probably on our YouTube channel. The Board of Education has some mixed feelings about standardized test scores, okay? We have to do what the state tells us. And unfortunately, the state puts a label on all of our kids. Now, we can disagree with that, but that doesn't give us the right to be ignorant of that label. So for better or worse, we have standardized test scores in the system. The child you love and you serve all week long has a label next to their name. And we want to get that label off. If it's a bad label, we want to celebrate them if it's a good label, or we could ignore it and not ever mention that to them, but keep it in the back of your mind, because it really does let you know a little bit more about how they're being seen in the classroom. And then we've got all of our standard demographic information. And of course, all this is at the individual level when it can be, and then at the group level when you need to just take something to a funder and say, look, here's the zip codes I'm serving, here's how many kids, here's the race I'm serving. I think I took out free reduced lunch status, but I can maybe make that available to you if you really need that for a funding application. These are just descriptive statistics that you can say, here's what I'm doing, here's the kids I'm serving. And then data we would like back, and it says this on that form that you're going to sign. I think it says JCPS prefers to have this data. And I'll put a cherry on top of that if you need me to. But we would love for you to somehow give us your participation information. So it helps us to know, and we're not writing grants, but it does help us within the school district. Right now, this is a percentage of my job. Tamara's here to support me. Leslie is there. Superintendent says thumbs up. We'd love to have a whole team doing this. So it's not a grant necessarily, but we want to show what you guys are doing with our kids and the effect that you're having on our kids. We can't know that unless you mark who's coming. So you get that parent form sent in to Nicole, and then it would be great to know what they're doing when they get there, or at least if they came 4 days out of 5. The student that came 1 day out of 5, you're not going to have as much effect on. So we need a little bit of that dosage so we can brag on you guys too and say, look at all the extra hours that's getting built in to the year, all this extra learning that's happening. Right over to the right where it says attended, and you've got a little sort of checkbox, we call it the blue dot page, where you take attendance inside the Cascade system for the student. And again, if you take your own attendance, you have your own system, talk to me and we can do it import. We've done that before, and you don't have to do any extra work or any manual entry. But instead of attended, that could say, I would rather be reading. It could say a tutoring program that you've got going on, or it could say played basketball. Came to you and they already had their homework done, didn't have any homework, so they played basketball for a while. But those 3 things might mean something different to that kid, and we would like to be able to know that. So we would prefer it if you took some program participation data inside the Cascade system. And on the menu, I think it's $1,000 a year to use Cascade. What did we didn't have prices on the menu. It's free. It's super free. So obviously, you know, you can keep track of this, and there's about 15 reports that if you put that participation data in there, you get all these reports back. And then we can help you if you need, build some really robust reports. In addition to that, if you need something custom, it's what we do all day. Our teachers and our schools log into Cascade, and we're just inviting you to do the same thing so that you can be right there with the teachers and schools, knowing what's going on with your kiddos. Thanks.
And look at that, 1225. Look at that. So just to reinforce, Cascade is a tool that you can use in Jefferson County to help you with building your capacity. It's a data tool where they're doing the back end of the work to help you tell the narrative of all the great things that you're doing in your organization. It helps JCPS say, hey, look at what out-of-school providers are doing for our students. This is why out-of-school, after-school programs are vital. We need to build that partnership between JCPS and after school. We need to keep nourishing that partnership. And this is how we continue to do that. So we just want to continue to, as he said, with the cherry on top, ask you to continue to maybe just a little bit, put some information into the system, use that platform. Let's get all of you all onto Cascade. Check your student information, because when your students are coming in and they're saying, yeah, I went to school. Yeah, I got an A in class. You can say, absolutely not. You did not. I know you did not. Let's fact check our kids, because sometimes you need to. But also, like, when they are, let's say, I absolutely know you did. Now let's celebrate that, because you're doing amazing. You're out here killing it. And let's continue to do so. So let's just recap. So hopefully you are all ready to sign up. And if you are, there's this wonderful QR code here, and it is also on the back of your menu of supports. Scan that QR code and go to that survey and start to sign up for services. I know at least one person did, because I got an email already. So that's awesome. I hope to see many, many more roll in. And so I think as I listened to people present today, I heard a lot of things. I heard Robert Gunn talk about investing in yourself. I heard Ms. Truck talk about taking care of yourself. I heard Suma Kula talk about growth and all of those things. And I think of growth, investing in yourself, taking care of yourself. And all of those things are what the menu of supports is about. That's what today is about. So I'm not gonna take up any more of your time, because it's 12:29, and I always love to give people time back in their day, but we're gonna have lunch, which is set up in this training room behind us. We're gonna have everyone kind of go by table to make it uniform. I guess we will start with, does it matter which table? Do you want to start with this table? We'll start with this table and maybe our presenters, because we appreciate you all for coming out. We appreciate everyone for coming out. But if you are located in this first table and you were a presenter, will you please exit out of these doors, go back to training room B. Yeah, go take a left, end of the hall, and you will see table set up. There are 3 stations marked accordingly to dietary needs. So please note that as you go back for lunch. Thank you. if this row would like to go around and grab something to eat.